Good afternoon. Appreciate you guys being here. Once again, really proud of our football team and the way that they prepared. That was the key for us. Just having the sense of urgency and the way that we practiced, the way that we met and did all the little things you need to do to be able to play your best football in that moment. And obviously, a very historic win, huge for our program, and been hard for us to beat Michigan over the years, and just really took all of us. And everybody, coaches, really proud of our staff, their hard work, all they sacrificed to make this possible, and I really hats off again to our offensive staff, come up with a good plan, and then helping our players execute that plan. Thought Nick Sheridan did a tremendous job, and Darren Hiller up front with the offensive line, just really, after going back and watching the film, the job that they did was really critical to our success, and the receivers catching the ball, tight ends, they're blocking and catching, and where the running backs ran hard, both of them, Samson and Stevie. So just a collective group effort, and Michael played well, as we all know and saw. But I thought it was neat, when I gave him the game ball afterwards, the first thing he did was defer it to the offensive line, which I thought was just awesome, understanding that you're only as good as the people around you. And that was a neat thing to see. And then defensively, continue to get takeaways and forced 7 3-and-outs, which are really critical to get off the field. Third downs for both sides of the ball was critical. We felt like stopping the run was critical, able to do that. But getting off the field on third downs defensively was big, and staying on the field on third downs for offense was huge. And so still feel like, though, just made mistakes, gave up some passes that we shouldn't have. I didn't feel good about that, and got to get that cleaned up coverage-wise, and then even offensively, just continuing to communicate better up front. And they gave us a lot of looks, and they play extremely hard and move and attack, and so, but just got to continue to learn and get better. And so that to me is the key, and I thought special teams wise as well, just going back and watching, just Hayden punted the ball extremely well. Did miss an opportunity to pin him inside the 5, which that's disappointing. We got to do a better job in that. That's how you really can take games over and make it really hard on them. Thought our kickoff cover unit was really solid, and just got to continue to clean up the little things. Really disappointed in the mistake there that Jamar made, and he was a man about it, and we had some really good discussions yesterday, but got to learn from it. Cannot happen. It must be fixed immediately, and he'll be held accountable, and he understands that. So, but got to have more discipline in that regard. But did eliminate a lot of those penalties. We had 4, and so just felt like that it was a really good, solid day for us from start to finish, and just really excited the way we finished, and with the defense getting an interception, offense being able to run the clock out, run the football was big. So, but as always is the case, big win for sure, but it's in the rearview mirror for us, and now we've got all our 100% focus on Michigan State, and a ton of respect for them, and the opportunity for us to play for the Brass Spittoon, which is a trophy game for us here that we have placed a high value on, and have not been able to obtain that trophy since I've been the head coach here, and so just really excited about our opportunity to play a very tough, hard-nosed, hard-playing football team that we know is going to be playing their best football, as they did against Michigan when they did a great job against them, and was obviously a different football team in that game. And so just know that their staff's going to have them ready to play, and a lot of respect for the job that they do, and the fact that they're going to have their guys playing at a high level. So bottom line is that we have to stay focused on the task at hand. We have to do a tremendous job of staying in the moment of what we're trying to do, which is to play our best football on Saturday at noon in East Lansing. Questions?
Tom, I guess just returning to the offensive line performance, you don't allow any sacks. I know maybe you don't bust a lot of long runs. As you talk about, you get a lot of runs, good, productive runs when you need them. I know that you've said at times in the past, in the first couple games of the season, the offensive line still had some work to do, some areas to clean up. But just where do you feel like you were able to really kind of execute along that front to keep the offense moving in the direction it needed to Saturday?
Well, it does begin in the run game, and we always get caught up in the numbers, and I thought we ran the ball effectively, and definitely when we needed to there at the end. Stevie had 97 yards rushing, and I thought Samson ran really hard, and man, just such a great 1-2 punch, those two guys, and just both unselfish, and I thought our O-line got better, and that to me is the key. We had a good week of preparation with them and challenged them, and I've been hard on them and called them out, and in the first couple weeks, especially week one, and just to allow no sacks. There's still pressures, and we got to do better. But I just felt like that they strained harder, longer than we have in the past, and stayed on their blocks and executed better, communicated better. And it's time creates that, and also it's leadership. It's leadership in that room. From Harry Kreider, one of our captains, that's been here for many years, and I thought he did a great job getting his teammates ready. And Coach Hiller is the leader of that room, and has the charge to be able to capture that room and get those guys to play at a high level. So I just think it's a continual growth process. We're definitely not where we need to be yet, but I definitely thought we saw progress, and it was definitely gave us time to throw the football, and then gave us enough creases to be able to allow our backs to be effective and get first downs. We converted 2 fourth downs, one there at the very end to seal the win, and then leading to the last touchdown as well. So both 2 huge opportunities there for us. So that's why we gave our offensive line. They were the players of the game for offense, was the entire O-line, and that's an awesome thing. And our guys respect them for that, and I know that's a pretty cool thing.
All right, Jonathan, about that.
Just a question about Kane Womack. Obviously, you talked about a year ago not calling the defense is going to be a hard thing to do. You're just so used to having control of that. How has Kane kind of matured and as a play caller, would you say, I guess, during his time here? How much input and dialogue do you guys have back and forth about when to bring things and when not to bring things? And how has he mixed that up? How do you feel like he's been as a play caller?
Yeah, I think he's continued to grow, and he just keeps getting better and better, and I think that, and there's always a process to everything that we're trying to do. And, when I brought Kane here a couple years ago, he didn't call the defense the first year. I could have had him do that. I felt like there was just some things that I knew we were going to be really, really young. Following the 2017 season, he came here for the 2018 season. And we were very, very young, and I thought we were going to have some growing pains, and I wanted to be able to kind of work through that and deflect some of that, and not have that put on him. And that's just being very honest about the situation, and also just kind of getting a really good feel for what the direction I wanted it to go, and it gave us a chance to work together in that. And then the next year, 2019, last season, he called it for the first time, and just working through that as the season progressed. And I kind of felt like as we got near the end, and the bowl game was kind of like the culmination of, okay, this is kind of what, we're kind of want to look like, with this personnel and the way we've kind of tweaked it. And he brought things that he added and things that we add, and we always kind of adjust every year. But I just think, and then the whole off season, spend time together, and he's made it better, And so I think he's done a great job of preparing these guys and creating a culture of accountability in that side of the ball, with how we practice and how we prepare and the attention to detail and just the things that it takes to be great, in this conference. And so, and I think just kind of learning the league better too, and learning how, people, coordinators call things and how, things are done here. And in terms of just how do you create a positive outcome on defense, and felt like we had a good vision for that. And I wanted him to be able to see that, and he has. And so, because it's about takeaways, tackling effort, that hasn't changed. That's the things that we talked about when I first got here in 2016. But just been neat, and I love working with him, and he works so hard, and I got so much love and respect for him, and way beyond the game of football. But just just done a great job. It's about creating takeaways, and it's stopping the run, and we got to get better and other things. And even in that, it's every week you have to refocus on those things. They don't just everything, whatever you did last week doesn't give you anything for the next week, so on the field. So you got to recreate that. But I just think we're on the same page. We talk a lot during the game. I don't tell him what to call. There are times when he'll be like, and I even interjected a couple of things even Saturday about once we got the lead, what I wanted to see us do in the secondary. But and if he asks, but I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, go run this, because there's a thought process that you go through. And I still study a lot of film, but not as much as I did when I was calling it. And so just like I never tell Nick Sheridan, hey, run this, hey, do this, I don't function that way. I never felt like that was ever good for me when I was calling things. And now there's obviously if I feel something, see something in between, we'll talk about what we need to do and say, hey, let's focus on these things. This is better for us, or hey, let's don't do this next time. But I try to work that way. And I try hard not to second guess. I just don't think that's fair. I don't always like how things turn out, but he doesn't either. So we share in that. But I'm hard on him and I'm tough on him, and he knows it. And sometimes it's tough to coach the position and to call that side of the ball that the head coach used to coach and call. I know that, and so but I'm just so proud of him and just think he's done a great job.
All right, Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Tom. First, how's the cheek injury?
Well,
Secondly, yeah, go ahead.
it's healed up. I didn't no stitches required, so just a mere flesh wound.
Your flesh wound. Okay. And have there been previous times in your career where your enthusiasm has put you in harm's way?
Unfortunately, yes. And I got some messages from one former player in particular that I did something similar to at Ben Davis, and I got a black eye when I jumped on him after a huge interception, and actually ended up coaching in the state championship game with a black eye because of that, because I caught his cheekbone right in my eye socket. His helmet right in my eye socket, just like I caught monsters on my cheek. And then I've dove on a pile in college, lost my 2 front teeth at Ole Miss. That was a pretty poor decision because it took about 6 to 8 months to have, because one of the teeth that I lost was my already a fake tooth, so that one just disintegrated and that was just replaceable. But the other one was a permanent one, and I had to have a root canal. I had to have a false tooth. I had this false thing up in there it was almost an 8-month process. So that's why I did strategically turn my head to the side when I jumped on Monster, because history taught me that if I catch my teeth with that helmet, the teeth are going to lose. And so so that's why this is no big deal, but it's just a little bit sore, but it's all right. So, but yeah, it's, and I've jumped on guys before and pulled muscles and different things, but I don't do it as much as I used to. I am 50 now, so I got to be a little more careful with how I celebrate. But man, I've just, to me, that was just so many years of knowing that, man, because I knew that pick was it. I thought the game was over, and then I'd made such a huge deal to the whole defense all week about finishing. I mean, we just didn't finish the first couple weeks, and even you think about the bowl game, and didn't think we finished great in the bucket game last year, still on defense. So just that whole theme, and so we finished the game on defense. We got the game-sealing interception, and so if you notice, as soon as he was that I just took off. I mean, I knew exactly what I was headed to do, and I was going to find him and jump on him. So, but yeah, I've had a few of those in the past, and hopefully I'll have some more celebration in the future if there's just no injuries.
All right, Matt Murphy and Paul Gay.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm okay. I was going to ask you about that. You talked so many times about finishing on both sides of the ball, both sides kind of marrying together, and to close out a game. You got the interception, and then 5 minutes to go, you basically, Michigan knows what you're going to do. You run it down their throat, and you bleed the clock out. Just, for you and your staff, how big was that against an opponent like Michigan?
Well, it's pretty gratifying. As you mentioned, there was 5:05 to go in the game when Monster got the pick, and so they had all their timeouts, and so basically we know with it, and defensively you got to be ready. Hey, you may have to go after another time. So, but what a testament to our offense, our offensive line, our running backs, our tight ends, our offensive staff. Obviously, in that moment, you don't really want to throw the football. You want to run the ball to keep the clock moving, make them use those timeouts, And then we got to 3rd and short and got a first down, and then eventually got to that 4th down one. And I knew for sure I wanted to, we'd passed the 50, and that would be, with that final 4th and 1, that conversion would end the game. So, but man, just to be able to do that, in that setting, in that type of game, was an awesome feeling. It was a great testament to where our program is headed, and it's the weight room, it's the mentality, it's the toughness, it's the grit, it's the fight, and it's the finish. And that to me is what you have to win games like that have eluded us for so many years.
All right, Paul, and then John Bradford.
Hey, Coach, a bit of a different scenario for you guys now that you have marquee wins and a top 10 ranking. Are you at all surprised that a guy who got his start at Temple Heights High has achieved this success? And now that the wins have come, what's the key to us sustaining that success?
It's interesting. Temple Heights has come up several times in the last few weeks, and I got a ball in my office that's in a glass case that's from 1994, my last year there, and the 1993 season was technically my first year. I was interim head coach that year. I went there in '92 as an assistant, my first year out of college, and in '93 I took over as interim head coach. And so when that season was over, I was going really my first full year as the head coach was going to be the '94 season. And so I had shirts made up that said, "Dare to Believe, 1994 state playoffs." Well, we hadn't made the playoffs at Temple Heights in 17 years. Hadn't had a winning season in like 12 years. And so, but I believed in these kids. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. Really, schematically, I just did what I ran the offense that my dad had taught me, and the defense that we ran when I was in high school. And we had very few coaches, small program. Had some good players, which is always the case. But they, like I said, hadn't had success, but it was that belief. It was just the energy and the passion, really just me being me. I'm really, but it's amazing to think that that's where it all began. And we took that phrase, "Dare to Believe," and even some of the former players to this day still stay in touch and talk about that and what we were able to accomplish. We did make the state playoffs for the first time in all those years. And matter of fact, and this is kind of funny, so the guy that was the AD when I had the shirts made, he's like, "I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, you put that out there, that you put it on a shirt. It's one thing maybe to say it in your meetings," but I said, "No, I believe we're going to do this," and we did. And so actually we were 7-0 at one point in that season to start the year and got ranked in the top 10 in the state of Florida. So just a neat way it all started. And then from there, I just feel blessed. I mean, just the good Lord's allowed me to be able to be at some neat places to create some change and just follow the dream of my heart to be a college coach. So you just kind of went on that journey from there. But even then, to be a college coach, it wasn't. I started at Wabash, Division III, and was a position coach there and special teams coordinator for Chris Creighton. And I just thank him for believing in me. And then just went from there and just to NAIA and then to 1AA. And then, so it's just kind of been an amazing journey, really. And I just feel so blessed. And the good Lord has just been with us and guided us. But there's just something special about being here at home and when I had the chance to come back here, in 2016. So, but yeah, it's just been something that's been, like I said, I got that ball in my office with all the players that signed. I think we only had 28 players on the team. But that's always going to be a special one for me. And the guys on that team, I haven't seen a lot of them in a long, long time. I sure love to, but that'd be pretty special. But you always think about where you started. And where you are now. So, yeah, no, I guess I could only imagine. It's just way beyond my wildest dreams that I could be in this position. But we've just followed our heart and lead with conviction and purpose and passion. And, you just never know what you can accomplish.
All right, Kevin, Tom Brew.
Yeah, Coach, kind of two-part question. First of all, an update on Mike Kadick's status, and then you're facing a first-year coaching staff for the second time in 4 games, and what looks different about kind of Mel Tucker and the way he goes about things, and just having a little more film give you a little bit, better preparation compared to Rutgers?
Well, first of all, Mel Tucker's an excellent football coach and just like myself, a defensive guy. And, obviously his history with being with Coach Saban and Georgia, there with Coach Smart, and just being at an elite level, knows what it's supposed to look like, and is going to do a tremendous job there. But has had it, just like we've all had. But it's got to be challenging to be in those situations where you don't have the spring football, and you have everything, it's all, just like it's been for us, and nothing's the consistent flow of preparation's not been there. So that kind of created a lot of unknowns, just like it did with Rutgers and new staff and all different things. But you saw how they played against Michigan. So to me, that's all you need to see, and the toughness and the fight and the execution on both sides of the ball, and just guys making plays. The receiver core, I think, is extremely impressive, and the quarterback throws a really good deep ball. He just throws the ball down the field very accurately and effectively. And so but Coach Tucker's a guy that's I don't really know him very well. Been on a lot of Zoom calls with him and phone calls because of all that we've been through this whole offseason with COVID and all. But just a ton of respect for him and what he's accomplished, and just him coming there and being able to be going to Colorado as a head coach and then coming there. And so we're trying to watch different film from different places and to try and piece together what you think you're going to see from them, and the scheme is obviously different because he's got a new staff, and so but there's some of the same players from last year. So but it's definitely different, and so we just got to find what we feel that how they're going to attack us and do a great job preparing them and try to be the best prepared team and let our kids play fast and physical and execute and so but it's going to be it's always a challenge early on these games where you don't have a complete total feel for exactly what you're going to see maybe, but at the same time just a lot of respect for them, and this is a big game for us now. I mean, this is the biggest game of the season because it's the next one, but it's a trophy game for us, and we understand that, and we set down goals for this season. This is up there, and so our guys understand that, and we've not beaten them since I've been the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. So this is when we want to be very locked in for and ready.
Anything on Kadek?
He's progressing, so I don't know for sure yet. Was with us today doing things and progressing along in his recovery, and hope to get him back, yes.
Tom, I remember several years back when John Gruden was having a special season when the Bucs won the Super Bowl. There was all this excitement around every game, every weekend. That he had said one time that his biggest fear as a coach, his first-year coach especially, in going through that for the first time, was losing a game on Wednesday or Thursday instead of losing it on Sunday. You talked after the game last week about how important having that physical practice was, but how do you try to juggle and balance how much you try to get done physically each week, especially with this schedule this year where you got to play basically 9 games in a row without a break?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've put a lot of thought into it. We've actually modified some things. You have to have physical practices, I believe. We're limiting those from the past because of no bye weeks and just the fact that you're just going all Big Ten games straight in a row. So that's, to me, it's just a lot of, consultation with our strength staff. I have a tremendous amount of trust in Aaron Wellman, and he studies this to a high level. In the past, I relied heavily on Dr. Ray to give me that information, and Dave Ballou and their input, and then now it's Aaron Wellman. So I rely on our strength guys so much for that, our medical staff, to kind of get a gauge for where we are physically. But you got to balance it. You can't do it. It's not business as usual. So it's definitely different. But I think we kind of saw this coming, so we had a good plan for that, I believe, and the way that we started doing things, prior to the start of the season, just getting ourselves ready for this kind of stretch here where you're going to have to still practice and get the reps you need, but without doing it as physical all the time as you may have done it in the past. But we still have to have those moments, and we're going to pick and choose those at the right time to be at the high level of physicality that we know we have to prepare yourself to play, because this is a very physical football team we're about to play, and big and strong, and that to me is really what's going to be key. So to me, it's about coming together collectively, making a great decision that we feel is best, and it could change each week based on how we're feeling, how we're looking, and how our guys have handled the previous game. So, but right now, really, really encouraged by our strength staff and the job that they've done to get our guys physically ready, and we'll keep relying on their expertise to help us, keep everything, tuned to the right level of intensity during practice.
Hey, Coach, first top 10 ranking in 51 years. What does that mean for your program? Is that a check mark also?
Well, it wasn't a prescribed goal. I just felt like those things are the product of the other things that we've set forward, and knew that when you're in a Power Five conference and one of the elite conferences in the country, that when you have success in that conference, those things are going to come. So we didn't set out and say, okay, hey, this is what we had. We want to be this or that. So to me, it's a great tool in recruiting. It helps us prove and show that we're doing what we believe we could do. And we weren't just talking about it. Now it's becoming a reality. And so that part of it's good. Doesn't do anything to help us on game day. And I've told that 100 times to our coaches and our players, so we don't really talk about it much, to be honest with you. That's really something that's really on the periphery that, can give us definitely some momentum and as a program and in recruiting. But at the same time, it's what we do on the field. So it's how we prepare this week so we can get better. And that, to me, has been the absolute focus today, and it will be tomorrow. And, you win those games on Saturday during the week without question. And that has to be the case this week. And so to me, those are just things that, can be distractions, I think, if they're not handled properly. And so we, our guys expected to be in this position. Whether anybody else did or not really doesn't matter. But as you talk to our guys and as you see them and they, are saying the right things, but, it's about how we prepare. So to me, that's the key. Earmuffs and blinders, stay focused on the task at hand, and just keep getting better.
Coach, you talked about how your team handles this game this week. There's a lot of new challenges here. You go on the road as a favorite. You're going to a place that last year you didn't finish, and it's one of the places that could have changed the season there. But talk about the different challenges that this particular game brings, being on the road, being a favorite, and where you are right now as a team.
Well, first of all, we haven't finished the last two times we've gone there, so that to me is very clearly understood by our staff and our team. And so to me, the sense of urgency to finish is paramount, and the sense of urgency to prepare at a high level and just get better. I mean, like you said, I know there were a lot of positives on Saturday, and that's great, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't do very good. And so we got to get better. And that, to me, we don't have the season's compressed. And so the time frame to get better and to maximize the preparation process is at a high point right now, very critical stage. And so to me, the balancing is to be able to make sure that you are consistent in the way that you do those things. And so it's all about consistent performance and consistent preparation and guys buying into that and really believing it, not just hearing it, but doing it. And, as I said, even Saturday, I mean, you create change by the things that you do every single day. And our guys have been, reinforced with that whole mantra and that whole mindset by what's happened in the last few weeks, but yeah, there's no question. You're going on the road and you're playing a Big Ten opponent, and that's always challenging without question. And so we got to be at our best. We got to play our best football on Saturday, and it's a noon kickoff, and it's all those variables out there, all the unknowns of different things that we've mentioned with the new staff, but at the same time, it's Big Ten football, and we know the standard. We now have an opportunity to continue the momentum that we have right now, and that to me is very, very important. And so, doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. And that's why that word finish is such a big deal to me and why it's been such a big deal in this program. And the more we learn to do that, the more we're going to accomplish things that we want to accomplish as a program.
Good morning, Coach. You guys came into the game, I think, 6 of 23 on third down. You went 9 of 18 on offense on third down. What do you contribute that improvement to, and how key was that to getting that offense rolling and dominating?
Yeah, I thought that it was a key, and then I met with Nick, and we went over that and actually had him go through, and we went through all of our third downs from the previous games and went through and evaluated why we were not successful, and then made a huge emphasis on, okay, how can we correct that? And then went through a definite plan for that. And, you get what you emphasize. And so I was just really proud of our offensive staff for addressing it in the right way and finding answers, And so, and even, we were 9 of 17 technically. I know the 18th one was, we took a knee, so that is what it is statistically. I understand that. But really did a great job on, we're 53% on offense and as a collective group on those third downs, which is massive in the football game. And that's the key. I mean, you talk about red zone. Situational football in the red zone is critical. Situational football on third downs is critical to success, both offensively and defensively. And so just really, encouraged by that. We knew it was an area that was a glaring weakness for us. But I think also it's also a major factor in that is your first down production. Running the football more effectively. We had a lot of 4- and 5-yard runs that created a lot of 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5s, which are really, really important. And it allowed us to be able to take advantage of some of those things. But it's about putting yourself in a position from a schematic perspective and an execution perspective of having the highest chance of success on third downs. And the guys had to execute it. We made some tough catches, made some good throws, some good blocks on those third down situations, and those are very, very important. So it was a collective effort by our staff and our players to address an area that we needed to get better at, and that has to continue.
All right, Ken, last one.
Coach, there's a concept that you have to enjoy some success late in the game to learn how to have success late in the game. How did the Penn State result help improve the team's mentality in the second half against Michigan when Michigan started to push forward and your team answered, didn't have kind of that the hangover that we've seen in the past? How did that win against Penn State impact Michigan?
Well, it goes back to preparation, but as you mentioned, when you experience something, I think I mentioned this after the Penn State game, when you experience that kind of a win, and it just solidifies in your players' minds and in your coaches and everybody in your program that if we just stay the course, if we just, live out grit and fight to the very bitter end and keep believing that as long as there's time left on that clock, we got a chance. It's a exponentially powerful thing. And that's where the experience of it all is really the next big step. You can talk about it. You can project it. You can watch videos of this and that. You can hear other people talk about finishing but eventually you got to experience it. And when you do, it just, I think, makes it so much more powerful for the future moving forward. And it just intensifies that belief. And the belief is a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. And that's why ever since I stepped foot on this campus, even as the DC, it's always been about believing. And if you don't believe, then you just need to hit the road. And that, to me, is what I said to the defense in 2016. It's what I said to our team in 2017. And I'm going to continue to just clench our fists and grit those teeth and fight and fight and fight for what we believe we can do here. So, but then when you start seeing it happen, and I even had some stories about other things that have happened over the time here and in certain games and moments where that belief just becomes even stronger because the things that we talked about and what I challenged them about have started to come to fruition. And so I think the Penn State game was big. We've talked about beating a team in that position, their stature, and then now doing it again with Michigan just continues to, it's just that big. You get a snowball that just keeps, as you push it, it just adds more and more to it. It just keeps bigger, and it just keeps bigger, and it just starts rolling with more and more momentum and power and belief and all that. And that's, to me, is, an awesome, awesome thing. And there's the principles that we talk about that with our team that we won't get into, but I believe in that. And so it's kind of everything leading up to this. This is years in the making here. This isn't just something that just happened overnight. I mean, this is, something that I think has been building for a while, and we just got to continue to stay the course and focus on, as I said many times already during this time here today, is just keep getting better every single day.
All right,
Have a great day. Elio.